In this clip, we're going to take a brief look at how Spline IK works. What I have here is just a series of joints that could kind of be similar to, let's say, a tail, a tentacle, or even something like a snake. Now, all three of those things don't animate the way, let's say, an arm or a leg would. There's not one specific joint, but rather the entire tail, the entire tentacle, or the entire snake really can bend at almost any point. So how can we go ahead and rig up an IK handle that allow us to have that type of behavior? Well, a regular IK handle won't do that. It'll just solve between this joint and this joint at the end. I kind of just squish or stretch the middle. So to actually get that degree of control, we can use Spline IK. To use Spline IK, we can come up here to Skeleton. And we're going to come down here to Create IK Spline Handle, and I'll choose the option box. Let me bring that over here and just shrink it down a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and reset this tool. Now, there are a few different options in here, and there's only a few that we need to be concerned about for right now. The important one, especially right this moment, is going to be the fact that it's auto-creating a curve, it's auto-simplifying a curve, and it's using a number of spans. So what Spline IK does is it's actually going to lay a curve through these joints, and the movement of that curve is going to drive our joints. And right now what it's telling us is that it's automatically going to create its own curve. That's what auto create curve means. What auto simplify curve is going to do is, rather than just try to use this overall structure to get the most accurate curve possible, it'll use the structure, but then it'll simplify the curve based on the number of spans over here. So 1 span, 2, 3, or 4. The more spans you have, the more points you have to actually drive your curve. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the auto simplify for right now, but we'll leave auto create on. If you don't want to auto create your own curve, you need to already have a curve in the scene, and we will do that with our actual spine rig. However, for right now, we're going to go ahead and keep the auto create on. Also, don't worry for now about root on curve or auto parent curve. We'll address that as necessary as we proceed with our spine rig. For now, let's go ahead and just create this Spline IK. So I'm going to start by choosing the first joint, clicking on the last joint, and you'll see what I'm going to get is two things. There's an IK handle that's been created here, but notice that I can't really move the IK handle. In fact, I'm hitting my move tool, but it really doesn't give me any sort of gizmo to move it with. On the other hand, I also have a curve here, and the curve I can move, and you can see the curve will bring the joints along with it. Now, what I'm going to do is temporarily disable the selection of my joints. The reason that is, if I kind of drag over here, you can see I'm accidentally selecting the joints. So what we'll do is come up here, and this little button here will filter out joints. And now you can see when I drag, I can actually select just the curve. And let's go into component mode on the curve here. And you'll notice now, as I actually drag these points on the curve, I'm going to drive the joints along with that curve. Now, you'll notice that one of the behaviors that's pretty consistent is that it's always going to stick to the kind of beginning of the curve here, the first joint. If I kind of pull this back, you'll see these joints are forced to slide back along the curve. And that's just a normal behavior. This will cause some issues when we're rigging our spine, but we'll find a way around this. But you can see this is how Spline IK functions. It's actually relatively simple. We have a curve, and the joints are going to try to match that curve as closely as possible. So that's the basics of Spline IK. Let's go ahead and now jump back into our rig in the next clip and begin building out our spine.